All right, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Art with Errol podcast, our Monday check in. And today we're going to talk about how do we get back on track, man. Yo, I gotta say, man, life has been nothing but a struggle the last few weeks. I've been really trying to wrap my head around how do I get back on task? How do I get back on track? You know, um, it's been rough, man. It's been rough. Um, we already talked about the things that happened. I don't want to harp on those things, but that has things to do with it. And then other situations in life popped up. It seems like, when it rains, it pours. That saying is definitely into effect. There's, the struggle bus that we're riding, and we just want to get off the struggle bus. I want to, I want to, I want to get back to making content. I want to get back to doing what we were doing because we were making such good progress. And the fall off is for real. And I've talked about this before. When you go extended periods of time like this where you stop doing the content you was doing and you have a lot less content, you lose your audience, man. From where you go, you kind of start back over when you come back. You start back over. Especially for small creators who don't have a large audience like myself. It's challenging because you want to make content, but when something is going down that, emotionally, mentally, and, you don't have it in you to do it, and you got to take an extended break, it's much more challenging coming back, especially when you don't have a large audience that will come back or is willing to come back. It's hard to regain those folks, and that's life, though. That's life. And we're living this crazy life, and we're trying to find our way. Some people have such a great audience that they'll come back, or they'll bounce back quickly. Every view and stuff that I be fighting for. I'm trying to figure out how to hold people's attention. I'm trying to figure out, what's going to be helpful, or how do I deliver what I want to say, and things like that. It's always in the back of my mind if I'm doing it right or not, and for some people it's just, they're natural at that, they're natural at conveying their message, they're natural at speaking. I'm not that. I'm far from that. And to learn how to do it, takes, like they say, to master the thing, it takes the 10,000 hours or more or whatever. You gotta really practice and work at it. I have to work harder than everybody else. That's just me. I have to work harder because, either they don't like my appearance or they don't like the way I speak, or maybe I'm just not bringing the content the way I should. It's all a learning curve, right? You got to figure it out along the way. I got the light should be facing this way. I have these lights to, kind of make the green screen. I don't need the lights on me. I need it on the green screen. Too much light on me is not good. Turn that around. All right. Well, we're talking about this, So how do we get off that struggle bus, man? How do we get off the struggle bus? Well, there's a lot of factors, There's a lot of factors going on. There's situations happening that, could alter a lot of things, make it even more challenging for me to even make content. I won't talk about those things, specifically what they are, but just know that there's things happening in life, and how do we navigate those things, and how do we come up with a plan when stuff just is snowballing? You're like caught in a death spiral. That's what we had. We're caught in a death spiral, y'all. It's crazy, but we've got to figure it out. Like I said, I said it on the gaming channel. I do want to get back to doing like the little bit of gaming news. I kind of like doing that. I want to deliver that a little better. I was trying to build that product along the way. I was trying to, slowly shape it and figure out, the way to do it. But I feel like I'm going to be starting over with that. And we're kind of behind, right? There's so many gaming news ventures that happened over this weekend, which was nuts, PlayStation getting rid of Blue Point. You got Phil Spencer retiring. You got all these massive changes happening. I didn't touch on any of that. I could do it now, but we're talking about how do we get back, on track, and how do we start doing that? How do we start making these things again? And my time to make that content is early in the morning. I talked about this, a while back when we started. I was like, I make that bit of gaming news early in the morning. It's got to be quick, so I've got to be fast with my delivery. I got to be fast, so that's why it always was a short. Because I have to be able to deliver it, create it, and post it, before I go to work. That's the only time I really have to make that. In the evenings, I got time to do my art content and this podcast and gaming content. That's what I'm trying to fit it all in. How do you fit it all in a day? That's challenging, man. That's a lot to do. It's a lot to. If I was just making gaming news type stuff, and that was the only thing I was focused on, I would have more time to do that because I could just wait till midday or this time frame and put that one piece together. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm doing a multitude of things, and maybe it's too much. That could be something that we could visit. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I'm trying to do too much. I do love gaming, and my show has always been art and gaming. That's been what's unique about me is I'm, doing a little bit of gaming, talking about it or playing it or, getting controllers and kind of reviewing them like the Hori, stuff and like other things I've gotten and like talked about. So, that's always been my channels, right? It's been art and gaming. And, I want to keep that because to me, that's, a unique combination that I didn't think many people were doing. I mean, they're doing gaming. People are doing gaming specific or they're doing artwork specific. I'm trying to do a combination of both. Which, I'm really happy with the product we came out with the Jesus painting, recreating that work of art. That video should be live now. It should be going live, which I did a speed version of the different streams. I think it was a total of 9 different streams because we had that break point in the middle where, we had the situation happen and I had to take time off. And so, doing about 30 to 40 minutes each day, I think it came out really good. I'm happy with it, And that was, weeks of content right there. So, I will always love doing artwork. I still will always love doing gaming. So we're gonna try to continue to do it. It's just getting back on track has been a problem, with all these issues in life popping up. And, that's just things that's going to happen to us, right? You know, you want to be a content creator and you want to do stuff. There's going to be challenges through life, you know. There's going to be things that pop up, appointments and other things and stuff happening that you got to change or alter your schedule. And, you know, there's going to be all kinds of things. So how do we navigate that, you know, and make the best of it? You know, that's where we're trying to figure things out, you know. Life is not easy. It's not, it doesn't come easy for me to do this, you know. So we're still trying to figure it out. And I know I got a long ways to go, especially on Twitch here. On Twitch, you know, our numbers have always been low on Twitch. You know, I get more, I think, on YouTube, you know, when I do post the content, which I'm really going to have to reevaluate the podcasting channel. I almost want to dismantle that. You know, I want to just maybe post the podcast onto my original channel and then have just art and an art and gaming channel. Maybe having 3 channels might be a bit too much for me, too. You know, trying to manage 3 different channels, that might be too much. And I've seen people have 3 channels or more, and I'm like, well, how do y'all do? Well, I think because they you know, for one, they got a massive audience, and, you know, they have somebody managing those channels or whatever. And I don't have that. So for me, we may need to condense again. You know, maybe we expanded too far when we tried to expand and separate everything. I don't know. That's something I also want to revisit maybe mid-year. You know, if the numbers don't go up on it, we just dismantle it, and I just move those videos to the Art with Errol channel and upload them all there. And then we just go from there so that the podcast is all on that one channel, you know. The gaming channel, it grew so much, it's almost on par with my art channel now. So, you know, if I go and look at, can I look at let me see where we're at. Let's just take a look. So for my gaming channel, we are at 247 subscribers, right? And then let's switch to my Art with Errol channel. We're at 375. So we're not so far off between the two, you know. So, I mean, keeping that channel makes sense. I think keeping the podcasting channel that only has 7 subscribers, I don't think this one makes sense, man. I think I just need to go ahead and dismantle this in the mid-year if it doesn't gain any traction. I think I dismantle this and just upload all the videos to my main channel, the Art with Errol channel, and I just delete this channel because it's not having any movement. And it could be partially my fault. I'm not doing something right on it. I don't know. As far as Twitch, I don't know how you gain people on Twitch. You know, it seems like it's, you know, if you're in some kind of clickety-click, you might get help or support. And that's the same on YouTube. There's clicky-click-clicks happening on YouTube as well. We can call them clicky-click-clicks. Clicky-click-clicks. You know, they have their clicks, you know, their groups. You know, they're segments of people that, you know, only work within their circle, you know, unwilling to, you know, allow anybody else in, you know. So, you know, that happens on all these platforms, of course. And I think I need to build my own clicky-click-click, but I have maybe 2 or 3 people that's, you know, that's possible, but they're not on camera. And I have an issue with that, you know, not that it's terrible. It's just, hey, man, you know, You got to get a camera, man, a webcam. You got to be on camera. That whole, I don't know how, because, how can we have a podcast and it's just your voice, It's just, I don't know, man. It's probably okay. That's okay for when you're gaming, when you're playing a game with a friend, you don't got to see them. But like if you're podcasting or doing the stuff, you need to be willing to be on camera, I think, So I don't know. There's a few folks I would consider to be, hey, we could probably make some good content together. But if I'm the only one on camera, I don't think that works well. That's just my opinion on that matter, Anyway, y'all, I got a lot on my mind, and I know these podcasts are more of me ranting and stuff a lot of times. And this time I didn't really outline anything. I just knew that I need to get back on track. I need to get back to making like the bit of gaming news every day that I was doing, my little shorts, because those things help grow that channel. And it was so evident that it was growing, and people were starting to engage, and now we're going to have to start that all over again. So it's overwhelming when you have to start over again, It was just like, when we was doing good on Facebook, and then they shut down their gaming division or whatever the heck was going on with Facebook, and we lost a lot of, when you go from having a few or a small group watching you to hardly nobody watching you, it's weird, man, and, we almost was at partner at one point, so, that sucks, when you have to go back and start over. And I still to this day regret that. I regret going to Facebook. I should have just stuck with YouTube and stayed with YouTube the whole ride. I don't know. And we're trying Twitch. We're trying this out, man. We're doing the streams here on Twitch, and we're posting the podcast on, the channels. We're doing our gaming here on Twitch, posting that on the Art with Errol gaming channel. We're doing the artwork. We're posting that on the Art with Errol channel. I mean, we're trying to make it work. I just got to step my game up, I guess, at the end of the day, right? That's what at the end of the day, you just gotta step your game up, son. You gotta get in there. So we're gonna try to get back in there, man. I think that's where we're at with all this. Is I'm pepping myself up, man. We gotta get emotionally and mentally excited. We gotta reinvigorate ourselves or motivate ourselves or uplift our spirits and say, hey, we can do this. Get back in the game. Get your head back in the game. Life is gonna throw punches. We gotta punch back. We gotta punch back, man. You gotta punch back and get back on track. That's kind of what I'm thinking, man. It's definitely been a wild ride for this year, and I had good hopes. I had high hopes for this year up until our little situations happened, man. I had high hopes. I had, I just had a good feeling up until everything went south, And when it rains, it pours, When it rains, it pours. So, I'm just trying to navigate life right now. And hopefully tomorrow I can dive back into the bit of gaming news, do a short. And if I can get the first one on the roll, I can, start doing it again, man. We can start doing it again. So I think I just got to be in it, man. It's just been such a a struggle getting back. Slow going for me getting back. It really has. Slow going. Well, so we can talk a little bit about this week. Last week I actually, did finish the Jesus painting. I talked about this on the gaming channel too. And we did this weekend. I worked on the video to like have it speeded up, so we have the speed drawing kind of deal. So that should be live right now. If you want to check that out on the Art with Errol channel. And all the live streams are on Twitch, and all the live streams are on or the video footage of it is on the Art with Errol gaming channel. So Art with Errol channel, sorry. Art with Errol channel. So like the whole footage is there. And I sped it up to like, have two versions. I have this 9x16 and 16x9. They're both up. So that's good. And what we want to do going forward for the next one, I think we're going to do my dad since he passed. That's what we're going to do. We're gonna try to start on that this week at some point. I'm thinking I got some appointments this week that are gonna interfere with that, but at least if I can get like a sketch done one day this week and maybe some game streams in, that's my plan. And then hopefully we're gonna get the bit of gaming news up tomorrow and start doing that again. So if I can get back on track this week, that would be wonderful for me. I would feel better about at least I'm trying, because right now I don't feel like I'm really trying. I'm kind of like still in that funk about everything, and about other situations that's happening. So, just want to get out of that headspace, I guess. Yeah. Get out of that headspace and back into, a person that's motivated to make it, So right now I don't feel that way. So, yeah, we're 22 minutes in. This is much longer than the last few because, like I said, I ain't been in the right headspace. I'll tell you that. I definitely haven't been in the right headspace, and I've been on the struggle bus. And I'm trying to get off. We're trying to get back on the wagon, y'all. Back on that horse, ride off into the sunset, I guess you'd say. I don't know. Riding off into the sunset would be like retiring. We want to get back on the wagon and get back to doing what we've been doing before. That's probably the appropriate one. Like I said, I ain't been in the right headspace. I'm just trying to think things through and clear things up and, get back to making content like I was before. So if you bear with me, we'll get up and running, I think. And for the folks that actually do tune in, I appreciate you as always. Based on the numbers and stuff, I think what we got, let's say by July, we'll look at the podcast channel by maybe before July. I don't know. We'll take another look at the numbers. If it ain't moved, the needle ain't moved on that one, we'll shut that one down and we'll move everything to the Art with Errol channel, and the podcast will be on that channel going forward from there. So I'm gonna give it to about mid-year, and I think that's what we need to do, because if it's not growing, it's not working. No growth. It's been stagnant for quite a while. So I think that might be the move, because we do have the thing is we do have the podcast on Spotify. We have this podcast on Amazon Music. We have it on Apple Music, right? Not Apple Music, Apple Podcast. We have it on YouTube and Twitch. So that's a lot of different places. So maybe just having its own channel is just not worth it. We can just, because we can, because the podcast is built into your channels now, you could just have it on that main channel and just, I think I could shut down the channel specific now. I think, I think that's a possibility. So we'll look at that mid-year. Like I said, I think closer to July we'll look at that, and if that's what it is, that's the way we'll go about it. And I'll upload all the video content footage to my Art with Errol channel, and then I'll just add content to that channel, and I'll just make a playlist for the video footage, because I already have kind of the audio spot set up, so the RSS feed is on there, so it's like, maybe I don't need that other channel. That's what I'm getting at. And we can get back on track this week. That's our main goal, get back on track this week. So thank everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna get back to making content as much as I can. And if other situations arise, we'll attack it as it comes along, because some things you just can't plan for. You just have to kind of work around. And I hope this is motivating for you guys, because everybody goes through something in life, and when you have a snowball effect, you can see and you can learn from my stuff going on, that how do I deal with it, and what you think may be the best way to deal with it. Yeah, hopefully it's helpful. If not, hey, I'm ranting and I'm getting things off my chest. So it's a win for me either way. It's a win for me either way. Sometimes you need to vent and get things out of your mind and think it through. And sometimes saying things out loud or writing it down can benefit you. It can help you. And that's basically what I use this outlet for. The podcast has become more of me ranting or talking about these things out loud, so that I can kind of think of best ways forward. And then y'all can see how it plays out in real act and in our channels. So yep, you know where to find me. It's Art with Errol on Twitch. It's Art with Errol and Art with Errol Gaming and Art with Errol Podcast for now on YouTube. So yeah, till next time, you know what to do. I'm out of here.